Good morning and welcome. Thank you all for joining us here on your Black and Gold station, 91.5 KGRM, for another episode of Prez Says. I'm Charleston Talbert, Operations Manager here at KGRM, and I'm with none other than President Rick Gallot. It's his show. He's calling the shots. This is the first Monday of the month, the 7th day of March, and there's a lot going on here in Tigerland. On the last episode of Prez Says, we had the pleasure and opportunity to sit down with Melanie E. Jones, Vice President of Advancement, Research, and Development here on campus. And on today's show, we are thrilled to have Grambling State alumnus and NY Racing owner John Cohen here on the program. Gentlemen, how are we doing this morning?
Doing great, Charles. Thank you so much. And John, thank you so much for saying you just got off a red eye, man. Thank you for taking time to come straight to the studio to do the radio show this morning. Thank you so much, man. How you doing this morning?
I'm good. I appreciate the invite, President Gallot. And how you doing, Charles?
What's going on? What's going on, Jonathan? All right,
Good.
let's get right to it. So on your road to racing, John, what inspired your love for racing? Because typically, well, at least in my community, you don't see a lot of people who are just into NASCAR like that. I know my father did a little drag racing back in his day, but what kicked off this inspiration for NASCAR that you have and for driving?
Likewise, drag racing. I mean, so in the Black community, you'll see more of us doing drag racing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had some guys that was doing circle track racing in the lower series of NASCAR. And from there, I felt like I can do more things in NASCAR. I knew enough people maybe eventually get the sponsorship I needed to be competitive. So I took a shot and went from, the lower series to the nationwide series, which is now the Xfinity series, second largest series in NASCAR. So,
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, for us, drag racing is a big deal in the Black community as well.
Right. And drag racing, you kind of get that same excitement from drag racing as you do NASCAR. More so with drag racing because it's that heightened elevation of are we going to get caught doing this or just the intensity of the cars. And I know they used to race a lot of the heavy Chevys back then, like the Impalas, Caprices. So, okay. What principles did you take from the field playing with Coach Eddie G. Robinson that you use today with your endeavors with NY Racing?
So, I mean, Coach Rob, like if we lost the game, we would see Coach Rob crying, and he would tell us we didn't have enough pride in ourselves to go out and play well enough for him to win a game. So I take that to my everyday life. Like just make sure whatever I'm doing, I put all the pride into it, and I put everything I get out of it, and what comes out of it is trying to get success for my team. So it'll be to a certain point. My team will be one of the biggest teams in NASCAR, and until then, I just give myself that Coach Rob feeling, have pride in myself.
Well, and let me jump in real quick, John. And of course, I've gotten the question, 1,000 times. Rick, how in the world did y'all get a Grambling race car, in Daytona? And I said, well, John Cohen's owner of New York Racing, and we started talking last year, and I look up one day in my email, and I've got graphics for this amazing looking car. But tell us just a little bit about your journey from from Grambling or even to Grambling, and then since, and how you got to this point in your career as an owner of a racing team in NASCAR.
So how I got to Grambling, so it's funny, like I played for like the number 2 high school in the country a lot of big schools. Like today you see top chip athletes going to. I wanted to go to play for Coach Rob. I mean, at the time, Grambling used to play in the Meadowlands for the Whitney J. Young Classic, and it was a big deal up here to watch Grambling. And it was at that time, it was a lot of HBCU pride like it is now. And I actually reached out to Coach Rob, and I wasn't recruited by them. I reached out to them and sent them my tape, and Coach Rob had me come down to the school. And from there, I came to play football for Coach Rob. So from there, I mean, once I left Grambling, I got into trucking. Business. My father was in trucking, as a driver, but I got into it as an owner. And from there, I started a mortgage company and built it up. But that wasn't my passion. When you own a business, your biggest thing should be your passion. And those two was good to start as a focus point of me having my own business. But racing is my passion. So I quickly found my passion, got into racing, and here now, just to build it from there.
Okay, and in terms of it, and Charles kind of touched on a little bit. Our community doesn't tend to be very dialed in on NASCAR. What do you see as this great opportunity that exists before us right now to bring a whole different demographic tuning in? I know some of our friends and Graham fam who tuned in to watch the qualifying as well as the Daytona 500 have never watched NASCAR at all. So tell us about how this opportunity, how big this is, and what's the next step with how we can maximize our followership of NASCAR.
So for me, when I speak to a lot of CMOs of companies, chief marketing officers of different companies trying to get sponsorship for my team, the first thing they say is NASCAR is deep-rooted racism. I think I proved from this point, having the Grambling State University car for the Daytona 500, that one, our culture will tune into this, watching this race, and two, NASCAR has accepted, a HBCU prominent in a car in a Daytona 500. Like every senior executive in NASCAR, when they saw me into that paint scheme, said, "I love it. I can't wait to see it on the track." So from right now, we just trying to, build on each week just to build a fan base of more African Americans, more people of our culture watching NASCAR. Because, I mean, if you look at it, everybody loves racing of some form of fashion. It's just that NASCAR wasn't a part of racing that Black people tune into because we had nobody to follow at the time. So now with the, Grambling State, we ran FAMU this weekend. We're going to continue to highlight more HBCUs throughout the season. It's going to just bring a whole new outlet to, a whole new fan base to NASCAR.
Got it. And again, in terms of how we see HBCUs, represented on the track, and of course, one of the other questions I got was, well, how many millions of dollars did it cost the school to show up on that car? You want to talk about that and what typically the cost is for companies who want their logos prominently displayed like ours was?
Well, I mean, Grambling was us doing it for Grambling, and we wanted Grambling to be on there to make sure that everybody knew what Grambling State University was. But normally, what it costs for me to run a race is $440,000 a race, $16 million per season. It's a very expensive sport. But this was something that I wanted to highlight Grambling myself and make sure that I gave back to Grambling in certain ways. What Grambling gave me when I was there.
Got it. Giving back is so incredibly important. And again, as the president and also as an alum and someone that really just admires what you're doing, John, I want to thank you because so often we've got and I hate to say it, we've got a lot of folks who have a lot to say, but don't put a lot of action behind the talk. And so by profiling Grambling on your car the way that you did, speaks volumes of using what you have to give back to the university. So I thank you for that and for your willingness to help share your brand with our brand to really profile us in a way that we've never been profiled before.
I love to do it, and I can't wait to do it again.
Me too. And I just got to figure out when you're going to do it so I can be there with some earmuffs so I can I can see the race with some ear protection on.
I mean,
All right.
I definitely want to do it at the Speedway, so I know I can put maybe Grambling in Victory Lane, and Speedways are like Daytona, Talladega. So one of those races like that, I know we have a greater chance of winning. So if it's there again, it'll be one of those races, one of the Speedways.
Nice. I'm sorry, Charles. I didn't mean to take over. This is really.
Oh, no,
your
no,
show.
no,
You
no,
say
no.
I give the shots, but no, it's your show, man.
Oh, no, 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 no. I was just going to interject and say, if you're just tuning in, we are here live with Prez and Jonathan Cohen, owner of New York Racing and the Grambling State car, number 44. So I want to know, what's the significance of the number 44? Is it something special around that number, or how did you come around with choosing that number for the car?
So when I started in NASCAR in the lower series, I had number 58 in 07. So when I moved up to Cup, I wanted 44. One, at the time, President Obama was in office, but Ernie Davis, he had won the Heisman Trophy, and he was the first African American to win the Heisman Trophy. He won 44. Reggie Jackson won 44. Hank Aaron won 44. So I felt like that number meant a lot in the Black community, which we didn't see. And then after the fact, the next year when I didn't even know about it, Lewis Hamilton, he used 44 the year after I put it out there. But that was his number since he was a kid. So he's another one with 44 that it just is a number of excellence in the Black community and greatness. So I just wanted to continue that with that number on my car.
Absolutely, absolutely. So can you give us some insight on your early days with racing and your experience with NASCAR? I know you made your first qualification, was that back in 2020 with the number 22 car, was that? Or do I have my stuff mixed up?
Yeah, a little mix. So my first qualification was actually 10 years ago in the Cup Series in Phoenix in November. It was 2012, my first Cup start. But my first start in NASCAR period was July 4th, 2009.
Okay, so is there
he's
any?
Not new to this, Charles. He's not new to this. He's true to this.
Yes. He's been doing this for a while. So when we're talking about the significance of you qualifying and everything that's going on with racing right now, do you see a difference or more acceptance towards African Americans in the culture of racing now than you did when you first started, or is there a difference? Or
yeah, so this year I guess they highlighted it was for African American owners in the Daytona 500. Me, Brad Daugherty, Michael Jordan, and Floyd Mayweather. Brad Daugherty was there before I was, but he was a minority owner of JTG Daugherty Racing. So when I came in, I was the first fully minority-owned team since 1963, Wendell Scott. I deal with different issues than Michael Jordan and Brad Daugherty because at the time, Michael wasn't there. Brad was there, but Brad was still a celebrity before he got into the sport. So me walking in the garage area in 2009, 2010, people didn't know who I was. And if I go to certain areas and they didn't think I was the owner, I might have got a little slack from security, But, I mean, the Confederate flag was flying high at the time. I mean, it was racism. And, I mean, even when even when President Obama came out of office and Trump came in office, there was a lot more racism at the track at the time. It wasn't until NASCAR got rid of the Confederate flag and everything happened after George Floyd, where the whole sport changed the way it was looking.
right.
So right now, it's a totally different feel than what it was when I was there.
Excellent. I'm hearing the music in my ears. I think it's time for us to take our first break. We will be back here with Prez Says here on 91.5 KGRM. Thank you for joining us.
Grambling State University is the home of innovation, where influencers invest, where academics change the world, where we've been raising the bar for HBCUs on the field, in history, and in our community for more than a century. Join the next generation of world changers and innovation makers at the place where everybody is truly somebody. The world-famed Tiger Marching Band presents Click It or Ticket. Drive sober or get pulled over.
With all your might, you do it big, you do it right. Now your thirst is as grand as your big marching band, and you got big refreshments on hand. Coke is it, the biggest taste you've ever found. Coke is it, the one that never lets you down. Coke is it, the most refreshing taste around. Coke is it, it's that key note you hit. Everyone's favorite. It's the one that's for real. It's the most you can get when it comes to big taste. Get the biggest taste, yeah. Coke is it, the biggest taste you've ever found. Coke is it, the one that never lets you down. Coke is it, the most refreshing taste around. Coke is it.
We are back here for the latest episode of Prez Says. I'm Charleston Talbert, Operations Manager here at KGRM. I'm here with President Rick Gallot and Jonathan Cohen, owner of New York Racing. The graphics that we just saw from that old school Coke commercial, that was a throwback for certain. So a lot of Jerry curl juice and moisture everywhere on that commercial. But that was a good one. I'm glad they queued that one up. That one brings back memories. John, when we talk about memories at Grambling State University, what are some of your fondest memories here from being a student athlete here with us at Grambling State University?
So, me coming from New York, New Jersey area, going to Grambling was somewhat a culture shock, but at the same time, it was a lot of fun because it was a school that we had people from all over the country, and at that time, I think enrollment was really high at Grambling. It was people from Chicago, LA, Detroit, but we was all family. That was one thing about being at a black college. The black college experience is that everybody there felt like they was family where they was from. So it was just a lot of fun for me, and experience just learning other people's. It was different back then, like Instagram, Facebook. Now you get to see like what people are doing in different cities and how they grow up and how they dress. But at that time, you didn't know, if you wasn't around people from Chicago, Houston, New Orleans, you just didn't know the culture. But now you do because social media. But back then, going to school, you didn't. So you learn in different cultures and different experiences of African Americans growing up in different cities. So Grambling was like a whole melting pot for that in one town.
And are there any parts of that, John, that you have taken with you along your journey into racing that you might want to pass on to any of our students or others who may be listening right now?
I mean, honestly, most of the people that you go to Grambling with, they'll be friends. Like, I mean, most of the people I went to school with are my closest friends to the day. So, like, two Grambling alumni came to the race yesterday, and a lot came to the Daytona. So, like, take your friends with you because you're gonna need your Grambling friends with you. They're the ones that are gonna keep you up, and keep you going throughout all this.
And I also wanted to ask you, John, just in terms of students who may be out there watching right now, what other opportunities are there in NASCAR that perhaps we just, our students just don't know about? What are career possibilities, other opportunities that you'd like to pass on to our students and those that may be watching right now?
So I'm gonna be honest with you. NASCAR is a sport that, especially people coming from college, is every job opportunity you could think of. You can do PR, you can do marketing, you can do um, be a doctor in the sport. You can be a pit crew member, which is athletics. You can be an owner if you want. You can be a driver. It's so many different jobs that NASCAR has throughout the whole field. That's communications. I mean, and if you look at it right now, the race director for the Daytona 500, Jusan Hamilton, was black. The first time ever having a black race director for any Daytona 500. The comms director for NASCAR is Eric Ryan. He went to Howard, black. Um, the head of diversity and inclusion, Brandon Thompson, he went to North Carolina A&T. It's just so many people in NASCAR that's represented throughout NASCAR that people don't really realize, especially from HBCUs. So it's definitely job opportunities for anybody to come into the sport. It's tremendous business opportunities there, and a lot of money. I mean, engineers in the sport, some of them make about 300 to 400,000. Crew chiefs makes $1 million. So
Wow.
NASCAR has, like, if you're good and you're talented, especially mechanical engineering, is a place for you in that sport.
Oh,
Absolutely.
great.
If you're just tuning in, we are here live for Prez Says with President Richard Gallot and John Cohen of New York Racing, owner of the number 44 car with the black and gold. It's a really nice looking car as well. That's a Camaro, right?
Yes, correct. Yes.
Yeah, that's so ironic. My first car was a 91 IROC Camaro, and I used to run it. I used to push that bad boy all up and down I-20. And now, full circle, we have the Camaro number 44 running for us for Grambling State University. If you're seeing these graphics, I really like the tiger stripe motif that they got going on the car there. Question: I've never been to an actual NASCAR race. It looks like it's sweltering hot out there. Is that the case with all the heat from the cars and everything? Like, how is it to keep your composure out there when that heat is like that? Have you ever been, like, I don't know, like up close and personal with the pit or anything like that while the races are going on?
So, when you come to Dallas race, Charles, because I'm inviting you now, so you go to the first one,
Yeah.
so you know what it feel like. You're in the pits, but it just depends on the temperature outside. I mean, like yesterday in Vegas when we raced, it was 50 degrees, and it was cold outside. And even the day before in practice, it just started snowing out of nowhere in Vegas. So it just depends where we're at. But if it's a hot day, I mean, some of them drivers, they lose about 10 pounds throughout the whole race, of water weight. Sometimes 15, but in the car, it might get up to 120 degrees if it's real hot outside. And they got to sit in that car for 4 hours, driving 200 miles an hour with 40 people around them, 39 other people.
Right. And what's crazy is assumingly everybody is running at top speed in these races. So from your experience with driving, how do drivers get an advantage in the race if everybody's going 200 miles per hour? Like, is it about positioning, or in your opinion, what do you think?
It's about having the smartest people on your team. And when I say smartest people, engineers. So these cars are pretty much now, especially these cars we're using today, which is brand new cars that we used last year. It's all who is the smartest people who can engineer this car to make it turn around the track. Because going fast is one thing, but you got to make the car turn. And when I say turn is when you hit the banking going around a turn where it don't slide or it keeps its grip. Go around that turn as fast as possible, because that's where the speed is. Anybody can go down the straightaway fast, but when you go into the turn, that's what makes the difference of your car being faster or slower. And that's all smart people that make to do that. The
Right.
driver can just hold, but the smart people make the car stick to that ground, and that's when we get into it. That's downforce. When I say downforce, like when you're driving down the highway and wind hits the hood of the car, if that wind hits it, if you make that car low enough, it'll hit the ground low enough and it'll go faster. So you got to make sure that car is almost touching the ground, low enough where it don't scrape the ground, but high enough. I mean, high enough where it don't scrape the ground, but low enough that it's enough downforce that makes it go faster.
It sounds like a lot of aerodynamics involved when we're talking about like that downforce and how smooth you're racing versus having any drag or pullback, especially when you're hitting those curves. That's interesting. I never thought of it like that. If you're just tuning in, we're kind of getting into the science of NASCAR here. If you're like me, I know some of these terms, but most of it while you're talking, I'm just kind of glazed over like, what is he even talking about? Down current and all this, but it's exciting stuff. I know we don't look forward to crashes or accidents on the track, but what are some of the things that drivers and the crew, the pit crew, can do to prevent those kind of accidents on the track? Because when they happen, they're usually like big accidents. Like it looks like big from watching it on the TV versus being there. But what safety precautions, like how do you maintain while you're going at speed?
There's no way you can prevent a crash. So you have a spotter that's sitting at the top of the stands, way up high. He's actually telling the driver when other cars are around him and how much the distance it is, and he kind of lets him. He's like his eye in the sky. Like everybody thinks the driver's out there by himself, but if somebody's ear telling him, hey, there's a car to the left, there's 5 cars back, let him know that different cars. So he has his surroundings, but at that moment, it's all up whether you get into an accident or not. If you're at 180 miles an hour and cars just start wrecking in front of you, it's hard to stop.
Right. So one more question I have related to racing is something I always wanted to know, but I never like looked into it and researched it myself. So when you're racing and you have to stop in the pit stop, how do you lose your position in the race once you make that pit stop, or how does that work? How do you, like, let's say you're in 10th place before the pit stop, where are you position wise after your pit stop? Like, how do they determine that?
So it's 2 different ways. So we have this is a long, real quick version. So just say it's green flag the whole race, and you have to pit. Everybody has to change tires. Everybody has to put fuel in the car because tires only last a certain amount. So once you change a set of tires, another team has to change as well. So it ends up being even at some point. But it depends on how fast you go into the pits and how fast you get out, whether or not you're going to get in front of that next person. So they have a counter that knows, on the car that knows exactly your position of how many laps you did. And that determines when you get back on the track what position you're in. If it's an accident and it's a caution, then all the cars come in sometimes and change tires, put fuel in it, and then you go back out and it restarts and it goes back to position, how fast you got out of those pits, whether you start. So if one car might come in and it changed 4 tires, another car comes and changes 2 tires, of course the 2 tires are going to be in front of the 4 tires.
Right.
And his position will be further up.
So, and Charles, I want to jump in here because I know the music's playing. So, Mr. B is telling us we've got to wrap this segment up. John, what's your message to Graham fam out there in terms of how they can use what they have to support Grambling State University the way that you have done? What's your message to our Grambling family out there?
I mean, just support the school. I mean, like I said, we're a school that amongst pride and just elevate Grambling State University, as much as you can in the communities and in your workplace, and just all these other big schools do it, and we need to do it more for Grambling State University.
Great. Well, John, thank you so much for taking time to be with us this morning. And again, I know you just got off a flight and you got a whole racing team to run. So I just appreciate you making the time to be with us this morning. You have any final last words on you for this segment?
I just say G-Men, G-Men pride forever. So, I love Grambling State University, and I just want to keep elevating as much as I can.
Thank you, John. God bless you, man. Can't wait to see you soon, okay?
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys in April for the swim game.
All right, see you then.
Good deal.
All right, thank you.
All right, we're going to take this quick break. We will be back with the second half of Prez Says here on YouTube. And thank you for joining us, and stay tuned.
Cats down by 58 with 1 minute left.
Hey, where's everybody going? This game's not over. So we're not the best. Our kicker stubbed his toe on the ball, and pretty sure our mascot has his costume on backwards. But this is our team. No matter what.
The 2022 Cricket Wireless SWAC Men's and Women's Basketball Tournament presented by Mountain Dew returns to the Magic City on Wednesday, March 9th through Saturday, March 12th as the league's top 8 teams on both sides look to bring home championship titles with 2 NCAA tournament berths on the line. This year's tournament is scheduled to be held in downtown Birmingham at Bartow Arena, with all 14 men's and women's tournament games set to be broadcast live on ESPN digital networks. For more information, visit SWAC.org. This year's basketball tournament is also being brought to you by Buick.
The world-famed Tiger Marching Band presents Click It or Ticket. Drive sober or get pulled over.
All right, we are back. Good morning and welcome here for the second half of Prez Says. I'm Charles Talbot, Operations Manager here at KGRM. Him here with one and only President Rick Gallot. We just finished up the first segment with some good information from John there. I learned more about NASCAR in that 30 minutes than I've ever known in my life about NASCAR.
Charles, I could see your racing days just kind of, all over your face, man. You want to tell us a little bit about your racing career in that Camaro doing drag racing?
Look, I used to, I wouldn't necessarily call it.
Don't answer that. Don't answer that.
Look, all I'll say is we went fast. That's okay. Where I'll leave it at. We went fast. We went fast. If you're just joining us here, it looks like we are right here in March. As you all know, March is Women's History Month, and International Women's Day will be celebrated on March 8th. Women's History Month aims to focus on global attention on the state of women when it comes to gender equality, bias, stereotypes, and discrimination. On Friday, February 25th, President Biden.
Well, the first thing I'll say is that that the judge is eminently qualified to serve in that role. She serves currently on the D.C. Court of Appeals, which is typically known as the last stop before being nominated to the Supreme Court. And so many of the issues that ultimately end up before the Supreme Court are generally heard at that D.C. Court of Appeals. And so from a lawyer standpoint, I think to have someone of her current role, as well as having served as a law clerk to Justice Breyer, who she would replace, I think speaks to her ability to come in day one and serve as a meaningful and productive member of the court. Now, obviously, for her to be an African American female, that is certainly something that's notable. But I think we all would be wise to recognize the fact that she's so incredibly talented and qualified to serve in this role. And so I think President Biden has done a great thing in nominating her to the Supreme Court.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like I mentioned earlier, the 2020 theme for Women's History Month is Women Providing Healing and Promoting Hope. President Gallo, what is the importance of Women's History Month, and what are some notable women that come to mind when you think of Women's History Month?
Oh wow! I mean, when you think about just from a Grambling perspective, and think about some of the notable women who have studied here and have gone on to be incredible game changers in their respective fields. First one that comes to mind is one of my classmates, both here and at Southern University Law School, is Stephanie Finley. Stephanie served as first she served in the United States Air Force. Retiring at the rank of lieutenant colonel, and then also being a career prosecutor in the U.S. Attorney's Office, going on to be nominated by and confirmed as the U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Louisiana. It was the first time that a female had been nominated and confirmed for that role. There had been one African-American male prior to her, Donald Washington. But Stephanie went on to serve in that role, and again, she's one of many who have gone on. Chief Renee Hall, former police chief for Dallas, first time an African American female served in that role. Alicia Reese, who serves currently on the I think it's I forget the Hamilton County Commission, previously serving on the Cincinnati City Council, and the state. She was a state representative in the state of Ohio. Alicia has gone on. Of course, she was Miss Grambling, played on the basketball team here, and went back home to Cincinnati to do amazing things. So they're just a couple of our grads who've gone on to do really. Shaquilla Hill's overseas right now. I think her team won that league's championship again. So many. I don't think I have time to give them all.
Okay. As we continue here on Prez Says, I just want to touch on some of the highlights from the university from the month of February. On Saturday, February 12th, during an open house event at the Eddie G. Robinson Memorial Museum, family and friends had the opportunity to celebrate Coach Robinson's birthday, the 103rd birthday. Prez, why is it important to keep Coach's legacy alive and celebrate like we do for Coach Rob?
And the fact that we continue to celebrate his life, I think, is a testament to the fact that there are still lessons being learned from his life. Being able to accomplish all of the things that he did with all of the many obstacles and challenges that he faced. Having been the coach at Grambling, a rural North Louisiana school, to have gone on to do all the things that he's done, to have gone to the White House, to be the winningest coach in history, all of those things, being just an incredible mentor and father figure for so many young men who came through his program, and to have been excellent in what he did, I think is a lesson that we all can learn from. We sometimes get distracted by the challenges that we face, and of course there are always these comparisons saying, oh well, the football team doesn't have this, the football team doesn't have that. I mean, you think about what Coach Robinson was able to do,
right,
with little to nothing in terms of resources. You never heard Coach Rob complaining about air conditioning or carpet or anything like that. I mean, that he wasn't a man of excuses. He was a man of action. And so I think there are a lot of lessons to be learned for our generation now to say, quit making excuses and use what you have to accomplish what the task that you have in front of you. And so there again just so many lessons to be learned, and we want to make sure that the next generation and generation after will all still know his name and recognize the many great things that he did, and we have an obligation to be not only the keepers of his memory, but have an obligation to share it and keep it alive.
Absolutely. If you're just joining us, we are here with the latest episode of Prez Says. Right now, we're just doing a little overview of what we had going on in the month of February for Grambling State University. On the 20th, the 2021 Scripps National Spelling Bee champ and basketball star Zalia Avant. Oh, I'm butchering this name. Zalia Avant Guard stopped by GSU to take a tour of the campus with the Office of Admissions. She was also being shown around and got the chance to be seen with our women's Ladies Tigers basketball team. There she is right now on the screen. And when we just talk about an amazing talent she has, this young lady, in addition to winning that spelling bee, she also holds 3 basketball world Guinness records. Prez, we've got to keep our eye on her. I see a future Tiger in the making here with her.
Look, let me tell you, we were so grateful that she and her mom could come in and visit the campus. Everybody would certainly love to have her to come to their school, and certainly we took our opportunity to not only show her around the campus, but to really give her an opportunity to take a look into Grambling State University. Having the chance to meet Coach Murray and the Lady Tigers basketball team, because we know although she's incredibly gifted and talented in academics, she also has a love and passion for basketball, and so certainly we have all that it takes to provide her with a great opportunity for matriculation here at Grambling. Want to definitely give a shout out to Darian Williams for helping to coordinate and organize. Of course, Miss Grambling, Faith Daniels, and Cameron Jackson, our student government president, and everyone who Tim Stewart, everyone who took time to put this visit together and to really make it a success. So we're certainly grateful that she and her mom were able to come by. We're going to keep pursuing her too. I just want you to know that. So if she doesn't come here, it won't be because we didn't try. We're certainly continuing to go after her.
Absolutely. I think she's also like one of the top 8th grade basketball prospects in the U.S. So yeah, we definitely have to keep our eye on her. Pivoting to education in the engineering front, the Engineering and Technology Department hosted students from various high schools for their annual Clayton A. Wiley High School Day. This high school day was meant to expose them to different careers in the field of construction of drones and bridges and things of that nature. As we know, back in 2010, GSU alumnus Kerry J. Briggs established a $100,000 endowment professorship in honor of the late Clayton A. Wiley and his wife, Viola E. Wiley. Clayton Wiley, a native of Grambling, was one of the founders of the Department of Industrial Education and Technology at Graham Prez. What a wonderful experience for students to take place in building technologies, wouldn't you agree? And to just keep the legacy of Clayton Wiley going strong here at the university.
Absolutely. And I certainly appreciate, Kerry Briggs and so many of our alums who have continued to pour into our students by making these types of investments in our students. I see John Frazier right there, who coordinates our drone program within engineering technology. Dr. Edwin Thomas, who is the department head. The department was reaccredited by ABET, which is the accrediting body for the engineering technology program last year. So when you think about the things they're doing there, and certainly that's one of the programs that we will be elevating our marketing efforts for that program, because it is really one of those that's doing incredibly well We just have to, as an institution, better promote and market what's being done in the department. So you certainly can expect to see a lot more coming from engineering technology, not just in the drone program, but in our construction component and everything else that they're doing over there. So thank you for that. I hear the music. I guess Mr. B's pushing us into our final break.
Yep, it looks like we have our final break. We'll be here with the final segment of Prez Says right after this. Stay tuned.
Surprise you, spending all your time looking for a pot of gold. It doesn't matter if you
Grambling State University is the home of innovation, where influencers invest, where academics change the world, where we've been raising the bar for HBCUs on the field, in history, and in our community for more than a century. Join the next generation of world changers and innovation makers at the place where everybody is truly somebody.
The 2022 Cricket Wireless SWAC Men's and Women's Basketball Tournament presented by Mountain Dew returns to the Magic City on Wednesday, March 9th through Saturday, March 12th as the league's top 8 teams on both sides look to bring home championship titles with 2 NCAA tournament berths on the line. This year's tournament is scheduled to be held in downtown Birmingham at Bartow Arena with all 14 men's and women's tournament games set to be broadcast live on ESPN digital networks. For more information, visit SWAC.org. This year's basketball tournament is also being brought to you by Buick.
All right, we are back here for the final segment of Prez Says. I'm Charles, Operations Manager here at KGRM, here with President Rick Gallot. As we wrap up our review of the month of February, Prez, do want to call attention that on February 25th through the 27th, the Ralph Garr, Bill Lucas HBCU Baseball Classic was presented by Truist. This is the annual 3-game series. It featured Grambling State University and Florida A&M University at Cool Ray Field. The Atlanta Braves announced the return of this annual weekend series between the two historic black colleges, and the Ralph Garr Bill Lucas HBCU Classic, named in the honor of Grambling State University's very own Ralph Garr and Florida A&M University's Bill Lucas. I believe they both are Hall of Famers for the Braves, if I'm not mistaken. This classic serves as an opportunity for students, staffs, and coaches to be in a major league setting and kind of showcase what they got. And that's an excellent opportunity for our Tigers there to kind of show what they're made of and to show that they got what it takes to go to the big leagues with baseball there.
Yeah, look, I tell you what, I appreciate the opportunity to have been there for the Classic this year. Let me give a big shout out to our Metro Atlanta chapter of Grambling University National Alumni Association for providing, so many things for our team while they were there, providing meals and being in attendance at the games. And it was just, one of those opportunities for our alums to come out and really be supportive of the team. It was a little bit chilly out there, I have to admit, but it was certainly a really good opportunity again for our student athletes to compete in some of the best facilities that are around. And let me also say that there were a number of corporate engagements that we were able to take advantage of while being out there, having Cox Communication, coming to the game and providing us an opportunity to talk about some of our programs like cybersecurity and cloud computing and other areas. There was also the representatives from Coke who were there, and we certainly appreciated having John Mount and some of our partners with Coca-Cola, Accenture. They had representatives there. So again, it was not just baseball, and there were a lot of other corporate engagements involved. But yeah, I tell you what, Ralph Garr is just such an amazing man. He's done so much in his career as a player, and then also within the Braves organization. But he's still just so humble, and he said, I'm just grateful that I can use the talents that God gave me to be able to continue to give back to Grambling. And that's really a common theme, when you think about Ralph Garr. I mean, he could be very comfortable in retirement and say, well, I got mine, you go get yours. No, he's continuing to do everything that he can within his power to promote Grambling. And so, you have to, be grateful for someone like him and John Cohen, who, has really, again, done so much to give back to the institution. And I think there's a message within that for all who may be listening or watching this morning. Use what you have to promote Grambling, as Coach Rob and certainly currently Coach Ellis would say, and I'll paraphrase, heck, baby, say something good about Grambling. There are too many folks out there who just kind of hover around like those old buzzards that we have to keep shooing away from the stadium, who just want to look at what others are doing and criticize or find fault in other people. Be about doing something good and positive for Grambling. And I think again that is just one of the many lessons that we learned from Ralph Garr, from John Cohen, from Willis Reed. We didn't do a recap on the naming the floor in the Assembly Center for Willis Reed and also naming the tunnel. We talked about it before, but in some of the interviews that Mr. Reed gave, he said, this is one of the greatest honors that I've ever received, and that's from my own alma mater, to have my jersey retired and to have the floor named for him. Again, there are so many ways that we can utilize what we have to promote this institution. And really, I want to make that challenge to everyone out there right now. Use what you have to promote Grambling. Don't tear down Grambling. Promote Grambling and try to recruit students to come here. And it's not just about writing a check. John Cohen didn't write a check, but how valuable was seeing the Grambling name on that car doing 180 to 200 miles per hour. I mean, there were folks that I hadn't seen on social media and elsewhere were tweeting and retweeting about
what is Grambling?
Did we get kicked out?
Grambling is growing.
Oh, looks like we got a little technical difficulties here. See if we can bring it back to us here in the studio. Do apologize to our viewing audience here. All right, so it looks like we're back here. Sorry for that little technical difficulty there. But what the viewing audience had to...
I was going to say, Mr. B must have been trying to get me off my soapbox.
Look, well, we got the TV Center crew that's mainly students over there. So this is a learning process. This is a lab environment, a safe space. So Murphy's Law, anything that can happen will happen, especially during a broadcast. So do want to give a shout out to the crew that we have working here, always working diligently for us. And so while we're still on sports, Grambling State University did announce its 2022 football schedule. It's sure to be an exciting season under the first-year head coach of Hugh Jackson. The Tigers opened the season with 3 non-conference games before concluding the 2022 season with 8 SWAC games, including 3 inside of Eddie G. Robinson Memorial Stadium here at home. Ticket packages for the upcoming season will include the 3 home games, the Northwestern State game in Shreveport, and the State Fair Classic in Dallas will officially go on sale during the Tigers spring game, which is currently scheduled for April 2nd. We are waiting on confirmation for the time, though, so just stay tuned to gsutigers.com to determine that time for that particular game. Also going to have tailgating spaces available. For more information on how to purchase that, just visit www.tigers.com for more information. Yeah, you can see the schedule there. We have a great lineup here. I'm so excited to get this season started. And it looks like Grambling State University begins the season on the road with Arkansas State. Oh, go ahead.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that game. Just a side note, my nephew Freddie played quarterback at Arkansas State. So I'm looking forward to us coming here and leaving with a win, so I can call my nephew and tell him we went to his old field and got a victory. But look, let me tell you, with the spring game is April 2nd. My birthday is April 3rd, and I'm gonna kick off my annual birthday fundraiser, and this year all proceeds to the birthday fundraiser are going to go to our football program. So when I said we have to use what we have to try and provide support to the university. And we've done it, in previous years. I've done it and raised money for the Gap Fund, which of course is still very important, and other causes. But this year, every dollar that we raise for my birthday fundraiser will go to support the G-Men football team. So look forward to that coming out here pretty soon. I just dropped it on Tisha this morning, so I know she's working feverishly to get that program started.
Absolutely. I see we have a couple minutes left, Prez. While we're on football, I'd be remiss if we didn't mention the elephant in the room. Do you have any comments about the offensive coordinator situation here with the Fighting Tigers, or would you like to speak on that briefly?
Well, of course, the original lineup that Coach Jackson had for his offensive coordinator, which I think is a testament to the quality of the coaching staff, was the Tennessee Titans, not Tennessee Titans, the Texans, the Houston Texans. Saw that talent as well, and was able to make an offer to our offensive coordinator. And so Coach Jackson obviously has an eye for talent, and when you think about the all of the attention that was garnered by the potential hire there, it certainly is I think again a testament to the high profile value of our brand, and how so much energy went into that possible hiring, which didn't take place. But I would say, and I tweeted this last week, we're currently competing in the Home Depot Retool Your School competition once again, and for those watching and listening, is hashtag RYS Grambling, or you can go to retoolyourschool.com and vote. I said if we can put the same energy into the Retool Your School competition as went into the energy around that potential hiring, then I think we would win this competition again, hands down. But again, if the only time you want to come out and say something about Grambling is some negative energy, I would say keep it. Save that. This is 2022. We are really trying to forge a path forward for this university that is powerful and positive. And so again, give us that positive energy, that positive power behind supporting our university. There are enough external people who don't want to see us do well, and when our own residents of this town and alums and people who attended or what have you put that negative energy around the school, that just plays into the agenda of the enemy, and for those that are out there that don't want to see us do well. So again, my message and my challenge to everyone in the sound of my voice is to say something good about Grambling.
Look, I hear the music. An excellent place to wrap up the show. Thank you all for joining us out there for another episode of Prez Says, and we will see you the next time. Thanks, Prez.
Thank you, Charles. God bless you.